What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor, Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com. Head over there for all your wrestling news, exclusives, podcasts, photos, videos. You know the drill. Lots of stuff up there. We have Raw post shows, pay-per-view post shows, SmackDown post shows, as well as that Wednesday List and Your Boy podcast with myself and Fightful.com founder Jimmy Van. It is worth checking out. We have shoot interviews, all that stuff. We also have MMA, boxing news. Triple G and Canelo was this weekend. A good time. Fight for UFC Moscow, rather. We are getting closer to McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. A huge day for Fightful, a huge day for wrestling and combat sports. Don't forget, we also have our premium service, FightfulSelect.com. If you want reviews of Impact, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, Being the Elite, I have the Weekender podcast where we do that every week. I give you some exclusive news. I give you an injury report. Also, Warren Hayes has the 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic review over on FightfulSelect.com. That will be free this week, immediately after those three air as a free preview. We have a ton more. Just go over, peek at FightfulSelect.com while you're taking in this podcast. There might be something there you like, and you can get started as low as $5. I also have a lot of early access stuff up there, like my Making a Finisher series that saw the Raven Even Flow DDT and Raven Effect DDT covered this week. I am joined by Alex Pawlowski. Alex joined me on last night's Hell in a Cell post show with Jeff Hawkins. Alex, we are living in a world where people are trying to explain to us, no, you're being ridiculous for thinking Hell in a Cell should have an ending.
We are not being ridiculous.
No,
they are being ridiculous.
I looked up the stats. I think there have been 40 of those matches. One ended in a no contest. Do you know why it ended in a no contest?
No, tell me.
Because the cage ceased to exist, Alex. It rose from the ground, and it was no longer a Hell in a Cell match.
Well, that would explain it.
I'll go ahead and hit Alex with the X, which is our signal that his internet is trash. Well, we've got WWE Raw to talk about tonight for April 17th. Some newsworthy stuff. I have news up on Matt Hardy and the Red Cell, all that stuff, those videos. So make sure you all check that out as well. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you all don't mind. That stuff really helps us out. And most importantly, just visit stories at Fightful.com. Let's go ahead and get into this episode of Raw. Roman Reigns comes out, and he is very unhappy about last night. Says that he's still Universal Champion. If Brock Lesnar wants his rematch, he can get it right now. Braun Strowman comes out and says that Reigns is lucky things happened the way they were, because otherwise he would have walked out as champion. And that Brock Lesnar keeps screwing him over, and he wants his hands on Brock. Says that after he's finished with Brock, then he'll get to Reigns. I think he would have been pretty well served to say, and you know I'm never finished with you, Roman. Missed opportunity, Alex.
I thought so as well. This all was ridiculous, as we'll find out that all of that ridiculous schmaz stuff at the end was all to build to a show they probably shouldn't be doing.
Jimmy Van has informed me that I said it was April 17th. My apologies that you all are living in the past and I am living in the future. I guess wherever you guys are, it's probably September 17th, or at least that's the edition of Raw we're covering. I'll say that. Baron Corbin comes out and says that Reigns will defend his title in like a month and a half, Alex.
Yeah.
What'd you take from that? Well, first they announced that the Saudi Arabia show was happening. WWE Crown Jewel on November 2nd.
Yep.
Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns for the title. What do you make of this? Political stuff aside.
It's weird. There are
7 weeks away.
7 weeks away. We have the thing in Melbourne, Australia, which will be shown for most Americans live at but in the morning. So they won't. That won't be probably won't be streaming heavily in America live on the network. And that's, I guess in 2 weeks. And then they have WWE Evolution, which is in America. And that seems to be slightly more of a, sorry, we didn't let you come to the last gig in Saudi Arabia. And oh, by the way, we're going again, no matter what school buses they drop bombs on. And this time you can't come either. So here, girls, here's something for you to do. And then like a week later, they're going back to Saudi Arabia. It all feels very cheap and not nearly as like, hey, isn't this an amazing thing we're doing? But more like, we kind of have to do this now because we're being forced to. And it doesn't feel good. None of it feels good.
WWE Sausage Fest Showdown.
Yeah, 2. Sausage Fest Showdown 2.
And I had weirdos when I said something about that say, penis druids at All In. And I'm like,
no.
Piss off, mate. A woman was in the over-budget Battle Royal. There was a women's match. Yeah. Brandy Rhodes was on the show. Penelope had a big part in the Joey Janela match. They're not the same. And then somebody was like, I had people say, oh, you'll see the people comparing New Japan. Well, that is a little bit comparable. They cut out women's matches from things that are broadcast on their network. So that's a little more comparable. And I'm not buying the whole thing where people are like, oh, they have their own promotion there. I don't care. It's still stuck it's still stuck behind the times. Yeah. And Saudi Arabia is still stuck behind the times, not just stuck behind the times, actively trying to stay behind the times.
I can't imagine that I'm going to be able to bring myself to watch this show, the Saudi Arabia one too. Just because like the last time when they were just doing all of these like promos about how progressive the new king is and all this stuff. And like, oh, women can drive now, except for that one woman who you arrested for being a women's rights activist and who you want to execute via sword beheading. So yeah, we should definitely go to this progressive country and broadcast a show from there live. We should definitely do that, right? Right, WWE? Isn't that a good thing to do? Whatever.
Well, Strowman says that everything sucks, and of course they made him throw in, and all these people in this arena suck too.
He was doing so good before that. Although he did need to add, and the writing staff sucks. Because this is really stupid, this promo.
Yeah. Paul Heyman comes out with the door of the cell. He says that Lesnar's just trying to make himself more valuable to the UFC. He's then chased off by Braun. Okay. Baron Corbin says that Reigns is beat up and a little hurt, so he's going to defend his title tonight against him.
Yep.
I haven't seen the heel authority figure thing really in about a year and a half. So tonight I thought it was okay. I don't want this every week. I don't need this every week.
No, I thought they were actually going to make good on it. By the end of the night, for a second there, I was like, oh my God, what an interesting way of figuring out a way to move this forward where we're not just in a holding pattern for 7 weeks. Because I really feel like that's the danger with this. We'll talk about it when we get to the main event. But I thought for a second, oh, they actually might be having good use of this trope. It's like they never have good use of anything. So
yeah. Let's talk about the show or the match that kicked off the show, Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose, which has me reconsidering my option to institute a junior heavyweight sirloin beef sons of bitches division. I was opposed to it. I'm considering changing it because this was a good one. McIntyre slings Ambrose into the barricade as we go to commercial. I really thought this would be worthy of a pay-per-view match on its own, but given the schedule and the trajectory of things, it makes sense to do it on Raw. Ambrose hits a couple of mean clothesline, locks on a Texas Cloverleaf. Alex, I like this. He needs a go-to submission.
Yes, I think that's good. I think it's a good thing for him to have. The Cloverleaf was fine. I think Sheamus uses it from time to time, but it's not like one of his things he does in every match. So, and he's on the other show. And as they've trained us to think, things that happen on one show should not be thought of when you're watching the other show. So it's fine. Ambrose can do this. Call it the lunatic leg lock. or something ridiculous like that. Then Michael Cole will call it next time he uses it. But yeah, I liked him using it, and I really enjoyed this match. I think these two guys work really well together.
Yeah, it was really good. Drew hit his sit-up belly-to-belly superplex out of the corner, and Ambrose misses a double axe handle to the outside and almost gets counted out. As soon as he slides back in, though, he eats a Claymore and Drew wins. I loved this finish. I do my match ratings, which go up tomorrow morning, and it got a 5.75, which is an above-average TV match. It would have been a lot more, but these guys only got 10, 11 minutes, and we only got to see like 5 or 6 of it.
Right.
I want these two guys in a street fight on pay-per-view. I love this finish, though, Alex. It was something you don't see all the time. Usually that's kind of the breather to set up the last stretch of the match, but instead they went right to the finish, and I like that.
I think it shows some character building for both guys. Like you kind of have forgotten the whole lunatic crap that they used to do with Dean, because that was all they used to do with Dean, and now it's not all about that. But that part of his personality still exists. And him doing an off the top rope maneuver to the outside, which is ducked by Drew because he's a ring veteran, he knows what he's doing, and that's what winds up costing Dean his own impetuousness. I like that, and I also like that it shows off that Drew McIntyre isn't a rookie in there. He knows what to do, and he's smart and capitalizes on Dean's mistake. If Dean hadn't done that, if he hadn't been like, this crazy guy, maybe he would have won the match. But that's kind of why we like Dean, because he's unpredictable. So there's a lot of give and take in this finish, and it makes me want to see part 2 between these guys.
Yeah, me too. I really like this. And like I said, this was kind of a pay-per-view match. These two guys are so excited to beat the shit out of each other all the time. I really, really like that. Baron Corbin sees McIntyre and Ziggler backstage, and he encourages Ziggler, who is dressed like pretty much not in a suit, but has a suit jacket on, encourages Ziggler to challenge Rollins to his rematch clause. He says that Rollins fell off Hell in a Cell and is in worse shape than Ziggler, even though Ziggler's like, I can't compete, man. And Corbin says that Rollins is in no shape to compete and probably isn't even there. And if Rollins can't compete, they'll strip him of the title. So that's all Goldberg had to do to get the title back, is to show up there on an off night for Lesnar. That's all Owens had to do to get the title back from Goldberg? Or has this rule been amended?
Yeah.
Wild, man. Wild. Chad Gable defeated Viktor. This is a match that I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that they wanted, but they had some really, really good work here. Gable lands a beautiful bridging double underhook suplex. Viktor with the European uppercut off of a distraction from Connor. Viktor gets suplexed overhead a bunch, and then Gable hits a cannonball off the apron, and then Chaos Theory wins it. Alex, Rude tried to help, but Gable didn't need it.
No, he didn't. This is an interesting storyline. I'm not sure where it's going still, but I'm content to watch it in the mid-card of Raw, which is more than I could say for a lot of stuff they've tried to put in the mid-card of Raw.
Connor pushes them into each other and pouts after the match. I'm interested in this. Gable and Rude, not Connor. No. I'm not interested at all in that because I know it's not going anywhere. Up next, The Undertaker comes out. Sounds like a politician answering an attack ad. And let me tell you, I've got Amy McGrath and Andy Barr ads running nonstop. And that's what I'm seeing. So to hear Undertaker come out and do this, I'm like, more of this. You got my vote already. I always thought Taker was going to hang it up after 25 years in WWE, but I think this is purely speculation. I think he'll wait until like the 30-year mark, since he's so close to that. WrestleMania 2021, I think maybe he'll do it. But the bottom line is, he says he'll have Kane in his corner at Super Showdown when he faces Triple H. That's fine. It's another name to add to the marquee. WWE Demon Diva on Twitter had a great video. You all should check it out. Like, what do you think, Alex? She pointed out, what's Kane's default outgoing email during this trip?
I don't know. I love the whole deal of him being the mayor And I hope some crisis doesn't come up in Knox County he has to deal with.
That's what she pointed out. She was like, I'm out of the country helping my brother whose parents I killed. Well, let me get back to you. That's come on now. But the Undertaker digging holes and taking souls.
Yeah. He's doing those things.
Notice that Michael Cole said it backwards all night. He said taking souls and digging holes. It doesn't work like that. Matt Riddle helped make that iconic. You can't do that.
It's true. Well, if you've taken the soul already, but you don't have the hole.
Well, let me tell you, Alex. Maybe you want to do it in reverse. Maybe you want to dig some holes or dig some souls and take some holes. And if you do, our buddies at Blue Chew will get you there. BlueChew.com, code Fightful. Dig all the souls and take all the holes you can get, and you'll be ready and prepared for it when you go to BlueChew.com. That's BLUE, blue like the color blue. It brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Maybe you're going for a decade of destruction. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. You can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. It's prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. No in-person doctor's visit, no waiting at the pharmacy, no more awkwardness. They are made in the USA, and since the Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Put them down for the 3 count, my friend. BlueChew.com. And you know what, Alex?
What's that?
If you use that code Fightful, you get your first shipment free.
That's a great deal.
Undertaker ain't working for free.
No.
Blue Chew is, though. Just pay $5 shipping. Don't let anybody call your gimmick the dead man. Let them know you're alive. Just remember, guys, Undertaker appearing at Super Showdown, which they are calling the Explosion Down Under. And let me tell you, BlueChew.com, code Fightful, will get you an explosion down under. What'd you think of this segment? The Undertaker, not Blue Chew.
I don't. They keep saying a rare appearance on Raw by the Undertaker. It's just like the second one in 3 weeks. Like, I understand they're building to something, but it feels like he's just there to wear the coat and the hat and the gloves, which apparently he got from Orlando at some point. Okay. Most of this for me is the whole like, and my brother Kane will be there. And I can't stop thinking about how, hi, Taker. Yeah, it's Kane. Listen, I'd love to, I would. I'd be there for you. But listen, the school bus drivers are going on strike. They got me over a barrel. There's this rabid raccoon in the park. It's attacking kids. And of course, the kids would be in school. But like I said, the school bus drivers are on strike. So I would, but this is just a really bad week for me, man. Next time, I promise. Say hi to Dad for me.
Quick plugs, Fightful Select Tier 2 members. You get early access to articles, interviews, stuff like that. My Christopher Daniels interview is up there now. Several Making of Finishers are going up there this week. Jason Kincaid's upcoming article up there. I've got columns on Bullet Club and WrestleMania Part-Timers. We also have the weekly Stupid People Extended. Check it out. Also, an article about Dom Reyes. We have some stuff on the MMA side as well. Up next, Bayley defeated Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke has improved big time in the ring from an offensive perspective at the very least, and she was on offense most of this match. Her knees to Bayley in particular looked very, very good. But the story of this match, I think, was Renee Young just ethering Titus Worldwide. What's her grudge, Alex? Alex's internet is trash. We're about to boot Pawlowski. We're about to give Pawlowski the A-Train boot out of this show. Either way, Bayley brings out children with her as a part of the Connor's Cure initiative. Dana Brooke, like I said, man, for somebody who's been in the ring for on the main roster for like 2.5 years now, she needed to make that improvement. And it's taken a while, but she's there. She's at the point now, at least, where she can do a 5-minute TV match and she's perfectly fine. And I like that because a couple years ago, she wasn't at that point. She wasn't necessarily where she needed to be there. But now she is, and I enjoy watching her work, or at least I have the last couple times I've seen her out there. Bayley gets the win with a Bayley to belly anyway. This really would have been rated higher on my match ratings, but it was so short that really you couldn't get a lot in there. But I thought the most interesting thing was Renee Young. She straight up said, no more Titus Worldwide for Dana Brooke, as we are rejoined by Alex.
Sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know what Renee's problem with Titus Worldwide is. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them delve into that problem. I believe it was you who said on Twitter that Dana Brooke looks much improved over the past. Yeah. And it's true. She has. Maybe she's been training with people on the side that we haven't seen because a lot of times she's not on TV in the past year and a half. So that's good. Good for her. I'm just glad to see Bayley in the ring again for the first time in forever.
Lots of people left off these pay-per-views. So that was fine. Short match. I'd like to see Dana Brooke in some longer stuff. That way I can kind of see what she has from that degree. AOP defeated some Jobberskis. Backstage looking like they're in the sequel of Tropic Thunder. They throw a stagehand up against the wall. In the ring, there's a huge Uranagi and a Vader bomb. Death Valley Driver in the corner, which looked particularly awesome as the guy bounces out back into the ring. Super Collider wins. That is a wrap. You know what you're getting here, Alex.
Yeah. I did find it particularly egregious. The WWE Twitter account tweeted out the AOP looks ready to dominate. They were ready to dominate when you called them up. You just forgot how to use them. And remembering they're on your roster for the first time in 6 months, you don't get brownie points for that. So, yes, they're ready to dominate. They were ready to dominate when they were in NXT. So I'm glad they're dominating. Now can we actually put them in the ring against real people? That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. Also, at some point, the Revival got to show back up.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad of a backstage beatdown.
The Revival are not the kind of guys that will just let something like what happened between Ziggler and McIntyre go, but they do seem like the kind that would bide their time.
Yes.
So that if they turn that into a story, I can get behind that. But if they're the ones getting beaten by AOP in a couple weeks, I'll be like, okay, maybe that was all stupid then.
Listen, there's a great potential for the Revival as underdog, scrappy tweeners who are really good at tag team wrestling, but are not nearly the performers that Drew and Dolph are. So they have to be smart about it. I'd root for those guys. That'd be fun, and those guys could absolutely play that part.
Guys, up on FightfulWrestling.com, I have exclusives on Shane Helms at the Performance Center. I have an exclusive from Tanner Saraceno, MMA fighter who was on Tough Enough 2015, talking about partying with Chris Jericho. And I have an exclusive on the signs being taken away, the Becky Lynch or the anti-Charlotte Flair signs, rather. Check it out, FightfulWrestling.com. Intercontinental Championship match, Seth Rollins defeated Dolph Ziggler. So that rematch is out the window. Corbin gives Ziggler a pep talk backstage. Rollins shows up, says he's not forfeiting his title. Early in the match, he gets knocked off the apron ahead of the commercial, and we come back to Ziggler doing his do something deal, which he's got a shit can, that Alex. That's so stupid.
I don't like that. I didn't like that, but I did like the match. I liked they were both playing off their hellacious bump from halfway up the cell that neither man should have taken because it was stupid and pointless.
So Ziggler misses a super kick, is able to kick out of the ripcord knee. We get the superplex Falcon Arrow, and then Ziggler tries to use the tights on a roll-up, but he gets curb stomped and won. This wasn't very long compared to most of their other matches, but Alex, I'll say this. It made sense because both guys were beat to shit.
Yeah, I really like that they used that. I love that Rollins was selling the back even before he shot the half and got the pin. Like I liked that a lot. It even had me convinced possibly that Dolph might kick out because it took him so long for that cover. So I like that there's doubt there. I think these guys work well together. I'm glad we've gotten out of this rematch clause that seriously, you can't put it. WWE might have said, Dolph Ziggler, I'm gonna put in my rematch clause for sure, crown jewel, and we'll just he could have done that, and WWE would see nothing wrong with having him, wait 7 weeks for his rematch. Although it's been
in storyline, he literally can't do that because Kurt Angle said you may never get your rematch, Brock.
I know.
I was told WWE was actually very surprised that Brock was willing to extend his deal and work more dates. But he's doing it because originally, up until a couple months ago, it was just SummerSlam. And really, up until SummerSlam, they were thinking he was just going to dip out after SummerSlam. But he's in it, so that's good for them.
That Saudi money buys a lot of Jimmy John sandwiches.
It changes their mind, and they got 3 really giant paydays off of Raw, SmackDown, and the Saudi Arabia deal. I don't know what they're getting for the Australia show. Nowhere near Saudi money, but hey, thanks to Alex Anderson. He's actually a champion-level subscriber on FightfulSelect.com. He gets to pick podcast topics and gets to be on podcasts, pick topics for alternate commentary. Lots of cool stuff there. Check it out. But thank you to him for the donation. Open challenge backstage. Ronda Rousey. I love that she did this. She's like, how do I do the open challenge gimmick? And I loved what Natalya said. She was like, oh, the guys just do it.
Yeah.
They just go out there and do it. They don't ask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Ronda was on one of the shows where Seth did it. So maybe she wasn't paying attention or.
Well, maybe she didn't know the channels she had to go through.
I see.
Especially with old dickweed Corbin,
That's true. This is just, I'm sorry. Anything that the Bella twins are in backstage is just painful because they're just the worst actors. And I did love, I'm sure we'll get to that eventually. But it's nice that they finally bothered setting up this 6-woman tag match at the Thunder Down Under that they started advertising a month ago when it didn't make any sense. Now, after tonight, it finally makes sense.
Yeah. So Rousey comes out, congratulates Alexa Bliss on giving her such a great fight, and wants to be a great champion like Bret Hart. Cheer, Alex.
Yeah. Yay!
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yay!
Ric Flair.
Yay!
Woo! There you go. And makes her open challenge, and she says, if anybody has the gumption, come on out. And I'm like, that's Vince. That's Vince.
I so wanted her to continue with lesser and lesser people to get cheered. It's like Ric Flair. Woo! Just like Diesel. We guess so. Yay!
Stan Stasiak.
I just insert your favorite wrestler here. Yay!
Man. Natalya's music hits to accept the open challenge, but it's actually the Riot Squad dragging her out. Ruby wants the title match, and I was pumped for it.
Yeah, that would have been great had they done that.
I was excited. Ronda throws them around until Ruby hits an awesome spear, Alex.
Such a great spear. One of better than 85% of Romans, and every single one I've ever seen Charlotte do.
Yeah. Yeah, and all these people, I see all these people that do the flip with the spear. No, man. That's not how you make it work. How often do you see an NFL player do a somersault?
No.
And some of these people are former NFL players that are doing it.
Yeah. Somebody was saw the GIF I retweeted and said, that actually looks better than most of the hits I'm watching on Monday Night Football right now. And I said, well, to be fair, that hit, that Ruby Riott hit it's probably illegal under the NFL's new rules. So
Bella Twins make the save. I'm wondering if Brie Bella hired Barry Bloom to get her on both of these shows. She has some sort of contract.
She sure does.
And I don't want to target the person because I like the person who tweeted this, but some people weren't as happy with the Bella Twins, and they said, well, this person said, who I like, said they do sacrifice their bodies to entertain us and deserve respect. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's pro wrestling. It's not the front line.
Right.
Like, they're not going to war or anything. They choose to do this. And usually after 10 years, whether it's on and off or not, you get pretty good at it. Nikki Bella has. Brie Bella has not. So, I mean, it's okay if people see her on TV and they go, man.
Yeah.
It's okay. So there you go with that. You got that 6-person tag being set up. Elias versus Bobby Lashley. Elias is still over, as directionless as he may be. Lio Rush comes out, and I loved Elias's line of, "Hey, whose kid is this?"
That's so good. It's so good. Everything. Lio Rush comes out tonight on Raw, and the entire Raw crowd is like, "Who the hell is that?" And by the time he left that arena, the entire crowd was like, "Who the hell was that? And where can I see more of him? This guy's a star."
So we're going to spend a lot of time on Lio Rush, but let's go through the match. He is on commentary. Lashley lands a power slam, and Elias catches Lashley off the top with a knee. That was a very good spot.
That was a great spot.
So Corey Graves is talking to Lio Rush. This is my one rag on Lio Rush. He says, Corey Graves goes, "It's easy to call Owens a coward with Lashley standing in front of you." And Lio goes, "Are you really asking me that question?" And I'm like, that wasn't a question at all, actually. But Owens' music hits, and Rush jumps on the table, dives out of the way, pushes a chair towards him, leapfrogs Elias, backflips off the apron, dodges out, and then when Owens catches him, Lashley saves him from the powerbomb. I am going to love this duo. This would be great. I have so much optimism for this. I'm excited to see Bobby Lashley every week now.
Oh, this was instantly the best thing on Raw tonight by a mile. And it is the reason I will be excited to watch Raw for the near future. They've trashed whatever they had that was going good with Braun Strowman. Now it's kind of a slog. I like Drew and Dolph, but that feels into this whole thing of like, let's keep Roman strong and his buddies strong and all that kind of crap. The main event scene I'm kind of done with, especially now with Brock involved. This, somewhere in the middle hour of Raw every week, I'm going to get to see Lio Rush come out and trash talk somebody and Bobby Lashley save his butt. That's going to be great. Why are these guys not an actual tag team? Like,
hopefully they will be.
Drew and Dolph versus Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. I would watch that 10 out of 10 times. That would be so good. Also, I know they have like this, this thing they were advertising a month ago now makes sense. KO and Elias versus Bobby Lashley and John Cena because he's got to be on the card. Why? Listen, John, it's cool. I'm glad you dropped like 20 pounds and you're growing out your hair. We all deal with a breakup in different ways. I'm glad you're okay, man. But I want to see Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley versus Elias and KO way more than I want to see John Cena do whatever that crazy like seventh move of doom thing was that he did in Shanghai where he just punched Elias in the ear.
Yeah, I could deal with a 20-second Cena squash match just as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have him face Jinder and let it be done in like 2 minutes.
Exactly. There we go. That's perfect.
I want to see Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley tag team and just they're so great together. But Lio Rush is basically Spider-Man if you took the suit off.
Yeah,
He's so good.
Let's talk about him. I had been saying for a long time I see him as the WWE's next Rey Mysterio, and the psychotic thing is Rey Mysterio had already been in WCW like 2 years by the point that Lio Rush is, and Lio Rush is 23.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody do the things athletically that Lio Rush could do, and it took me seeing him in person at last year. It was a year ago, actually, the NXT tapings at Full Sail right after the hurricane. I saw him dodge a Velveteen Dream clothesline by falling on his back and doing a kip up immediately.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. He is something very, very special, and he's lucky that he got over the hiccup that kind of sidelined him for a while, the disrespectful tweet towards Emma, but by all accounts, he had kind of grown from that, and he had had some issues on the independent circuit, from what I understand about his attitude. But hey, if he learned from it, good. I'm glad, because you see this, and it was that contrast that made me think he needed to be on the main roster instead of just 205 Live, because everybody on 205 Live is different enough from the main roster, but there are a lot of the guys I look at and I'm like, you know what? Seth Rollins could probably do that at least once. He could probably bust that out. There are things that Lio Rush can do, Seth Rollins couldn't dream of doing.
Nope.
And that's the problem with the X division, as Shane Helms would always tell me on the podcast we did. A lot of people work that style. You didn't see Batista doing suicide dives and dives over the top rope. Roman Reigns teases them in the main event against Baron Corbin tonight, and we're like, oh, is he about to do this?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So the styles have changed so much, but I'm really, really excited to see Lio Rush.
Yeah. And for those people out there who don't watch 205 Live, don't know who this guy is, but were really intrigued by what he was doing tonight, it's taping tomorrow, but running on Wednesday. He's got a match lined up. This is very fortuitous for them, because I guarantee you people are out there wanting to see more of him after what he did tonight. He's facing Noam Dar on 205 Live this week. Promises to be very entertaining match. It's the beginning of a feud between them, so that should be fun. He's electrifying in the ring when you get to see his full abilities. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He could be something very special, and I think that Lashley needs him, and putting him with Lashley was the right move.
100%.
In my estimation. Ember Moon comes out. She's facing Alicia Fox and Mickie James with Alexa Bliss. And we get a returning Nia Jax. Ember Moon dominates Alicia Fox and Mickie James and hits a suicide dive, but gets knocked off the top rope. There's this real weird spot in the middle of the match, Alex, where Ember does not kick out of a pin attempt, and the ref just stops counting.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I had to double take. Like, did I just see that? And then they didn't really go back to it, so it felt odd. I don't know what that was. It appears everybody was okay, and it wasn't like a weird. You know, you always wonder if somebody like knocked loopy or something when something like that happens. I'm glad everyone seemed to be able to okay enough to finish the match.
So Nia gets a great pop on the hot tag. That was such a weird spot, though, that pin, and a lot of this match wasn't great. But Alicia Fox sells for Nia, who gets a good pop. That run into people awkwardly spot has to go.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Eclipse on Mickie, Samoan drop on Alicia Fox. This was not a good match, but it did what it was supposed to do. It reintroduced Nia Jax.
Yeah, and listen, if they ever get around to introducing those damn tag belts, Nia Jax and Ember is a team I would watch. Like, that would be a team that you could easily sell me on keeping Nia and Ember out of the main event of the Raw Women's Division if you had them going for the tag belts. If the tag belts are ever going to be a thing. I honestly thought they were waiting until post Hell in a Cell to like introduce them, because then you could have a build of a tournament toward Evolution in 6 weeks. But I don't know. Maybe they're never going to introduce them.
Main event time. There's this lame backstage segment, Alex, where Corbin is implying to the ref that he should provide preferential treatment. This Corbin has improved in so many areas, but this was not one of them. This was him like, say I'm the acting general manager.
Right. What I honestly would have been interesting to me is if it had been somebody who is like an NXT ref or something, and then he does call it down the middle, and Baron Corbin fires him, and we never see that guy on Raw again. I think that might be interesting. You know, like it would be an interesting way of like him actually exerting his power. So it's not just an empty threat. But this was not nearly as cringeworthy as the Roman Reigns interview segment where Charlie Caruso calls him the underdog in a match with Baron Corbin simply because he was in a Hell in a Cell match, which didn't really involve the cell, during which he took a nap for 10 minutes. Roman Reigns is never the underdog. Stop trying to sell me as him being the underdog. That was just painful.
Corbin goes for a lot of quick pins early in this match, but falls victim to a drive-by. Reigns posts himself, walks into the boss man clothesline for 2. We get a commercial at about 10:54 Eastern. Corbin gets a 2 count following the chokeslam backbreaker and his signature crossface half Nelson. Reigns clotheslines and boots. Then Corbin runs away over and over again from the Superman punch. So Reigns does it outside. Corbin runs away from the spear, but then throws a chair in Reigns' face, which is a DQ, Alex. But right. Corbin makes it a no DQ match.
Yes.
Appropriately. Braun Strowman comes out, and Corbin attacks Reigns from behind. Strowman attacks Reigns, but Strowman even gets posted in matches that he's not in now, Alex.
Oh, my God. That spot is just, it's so overdone. So overdone. He does, like, I've never seen Strowman hit a running shoulder to the gut. Like, if you do that move, then that move can be countered into being posted into your shoulder. But if you don't do the move that they're countering, why are it's so I hate it. I hate that spot.
Over and over. Corbin came back, hit a huge deep 6 for 2. The Dogs of War are out to help Strowman. How will the underdog do it, Alex? That was a big problem because these guys had the balls. These guys had the balls to sit there and fucking tell me live on air USA Network say
yeah.
In the year of our Hogfather 2018 and they had the gumption to tell me that Roman Reigns was a fucking underdog. To Constable, acting general manager, Baron Corbin. The nerve. How dare you, WWE?
The temerity, I say. The unmitigated gall, sir. I hate when they do that. Here's the thing. As soon as Corbin said this is a no DQ match, that's when I wanted to hear Raw! Because that gives Braun the perfect opportunity. Earlier in the night, he says to Baron Corbin, I hope you do win because I know I can kill you because you suck. That's great. That's the Baron Corbin. That's the Braun Strowman. I love this guy who's this tweener who doesn't care about anybody. That's great. So as soon as the opportunity arises, he should be out there beating down Roman, throwing Baron's corpse on top of him to get the pin. But it took forever for him to get down there. This would have been a perfect opportunity for them to at least shake up the Raw main event scene during the intervening 7 weeks leading up to, Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, is to put the title on Corbin. And now Corbin doesn't want to have any piece of Braun, but what a great way to get around that is to have Stephanie McMahon show up and book Baron Corbin in a match with Braun Strowman. And then all of a sudden, now you've got Braun as the title holder, but he never pinned Roman to get it, so you can still have that little gray area there. Instead, nope, we're just going to keep everything the way it is and just coast for the next 7 weeks through football season. That'll be fun.
Sad, man. It's sad. Superman punch on Strowman. The shield is out. Reigns gets caught with a punch, hits a spear for the win. This was a mess. It did not need to be all this. Roman Reigns should have beaten Baron Corbin clean as a goddamn sheet.
Yep.
And then like something happened, and then Reigns beat him again. Reigns should have beaten Corbin like 6 times in the amount of time this match lasted.
Yeah.
Reigns is better than this. And trying to tell us that he's not better than this is almost as insulting. And that's the thing. It's like they almost want to convince us that Reigns isn't as good in the ring as he is. He's such an underdog. No, the guy's really good, actually.
Yeah, he is. He is really good. And that's the problem is that I'm convinced they're like, Well, the reason that you guys all of a sudden fell in love with Daniel Bryan 5 years ago is because he was this big underdog. So fine, we'll give you an underdog. His name is Roman Reigns. Don't you want to root for that guy too? No, because Daniel Bryan is an underdog, and this man is a statuesque, Greek god, and can beat people easily. You've shown us that many times. So now trying to make him because of the title he's holding. Oh, what an underdog! How will the big dog ever survive? It's insulting.
That was WWE Raw. Some more headlines this week. Concussion lawsuit against WWE has been dismissed. That story on FightfulWrestling.com. WWE has announced tryouts in Chile. Will Ospreay will challenge Jay Lethal for the ROH World title at Death Before Dishonor. We do have full coverage of that. Marco Stunt, who has just burst onto the scene. I don't know. Have you seen any of him, Alex?
I've seen clips, highlights.
He is fantastic. He is going to debut for MLW. They're doing some really good things. We now cover MLW Fusion on the website, hoping eventually I can add that to my weekender slate on FightfulSelect.com. Cody Rhodes defending the NWA Championship against Willie Mack.
God, that's going to be so good. Listen, if you don't know Willie Mack, go to YouTube, find his stuff. That guy is amazing to watch. That guy is one of my top dudes who's not in NXT, WWE. He's one of my top guys out there that hasn't yet made the transition. He's so fun to watch.
We have New Japan results this week, or all through last week as well. Jeff Cobb won the 2018 Battle of Los Angeles tournament after coming really close last year and not coming close at all the year before that. I have an interview with Tanner Saraceno. He lost his MMA fight on Friday, but I have a full interview with him up on the website. Matt Hardy saying that it's his time to go home, says he's likely wrestled his last match in a WWE ring. All these stories up on Fightful.com. Shingo Takagi's contract is up with Dragon Gate in October. That is something to look out for as he will be in demand as well. Also, I had that Making a Finisher series up. Raven's Even Flow DDT, Raven Effect DDT. Please check that out. I have a video up on YouTube.com/Fightful, but the full story is pinned to our Twitter at Fightful Online. Now, Alex, we're not even through the wrestling week. We've got SmackDown tomorrow night. We've got AJ Styles versus Almas, which, as I reported last week, that was the match that kind of made Vince McMahon take note of Andrade Cien Almas. What do you think the ceiling is for Andrade Cien Almas?
I think he's got a WWE title reign in him, especially with Zelina by his side, because she can do a lot of the talking for him. I think he's great in the ring. He can work anybody that you put up in the ring against him. I think there's a lot of stuff there to be done with him. I absolutely feel like his ceiling is something we haven't seen yet, because I did not think that he was going to be such a great NXT champion when he debuted back when he was wearing the ridiculous hat and the suspenders to the ring. He proved himself to me fully in NXT, and I'm a huge fan of his.
Shane Helms at the Performance Center. I wanted to make a joke to him on Twitter. Well, it's good to see after 25 years you're finally going somewhere and learning how to wrestle, but too many people would have taken that seriously.
Yep, it's true.
So I didn't do it. I didn't want to deal with that, but we had the exclusive on that at FightfulWrestling.com as well. Anything in particular as we kill a little bit of time on this show?
Yeah.
Looking forward to out of SmackDown.
I guess they're doing a Shinsuke versus Rusev, which
that would be fun.
I'm into. Rusev babyface USA champ. That's something we haven't tried yet. I'm interested in that. Also, with the 205 Live moving from Tuesdays on the network to Wednesdays, have you heard anything, or what do you think the chances are of them taping it before SmackDown to get the crowd maybe a little bit more into it and seeing how that changes things before if they're just going to, show it the next night on the network?
Well, you shouldn't call it 205 Live anymore.
That's true.
I hope they do keep it on Wednesdays because, we got a Fightful Select show with Warren Hayes where it's a hell of a lot more topical for him to cover 2 shows like that back to back.
Right.
Also, it gives you a block of programming on Wednesday. You can make that your WWE Network night and really hammer that home. I've had somebody in my inbox saying an awful lot of stuff about 205 Live. Like they're being told to maybe run 2 matches instead of 3 and pair more videos. So I don't know what that means or how realistic that is. I'm going to follow up on it. But, man, I mentioned, how many times did I mention it on this show, Alex? They tried their best to invest in this show.
Yeah.
And the cards didn't fall in their way. It just didn't happen.
It's really too bad because the people who watch it will tell you it really is spectacular viewing, especially the main event every week is appointment viewing. It's always great. And I mean, they're putting up, like, Cedric Alexander has a real live title match, not live, taped title match on Wednesday. It's going on tomorrow. And we'll see how that changes things, whether or not, knowing the result ahead of time, makes it different, but they still got some time to kill before the showdown under. There's great stuff on 205 Live every week. I would hate to see it go to the way to the dodo.
Of course, guys, we have full live coverage of 205 Live and every show. Go over there to Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com. Join in on that. If you guys want to send us some questions very quickly, we will answer those. We have a surprising amount of time left in the show. There was not a lot that happened tonight.
There was not a lot that happened, and we delved into the Lio Rush thing pretty hardcore.
We did. So we will take some questions on YouTube live right now, and I'll use it as a plug. This week, the bi-weekly Q&A show on FightfulSelect.com goes up. Check it out. You all can just ask me question after question if you are subscribers of FightfulSelect.com. And I got one. Somebody says, what's up with the weird camera angle? I like to switch it up. Your mom requested it. Well, what can I say? I'm a professional. Somebody says, our opinion on the Packers and the Vikings tying. Okay, well, let me tell you. It was less entertaining than the Steelers and the Browns tying because I'm a Bengals fan.
Sure.
And the only thing better than either of those teams losing is both of them tying because that means that nobody won.
That's right.
However, I felt horrible for the Vikings kicker.
Yeah.
23 years old, fresh out of college.
Yep.
Man, that's heartbreaking. People said, well, it's his job, man. He gave it his job. I feel bad for lots of people who don't do their job good.
Right. Well, listen, especially when it's that ridiculous of a thing. Like, come off the sideline, even standing there all day, kick this oblong ball through these, like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, there are Hall of Famers who've missed a few kicks in a row, but they're not rookies. So they don't get kicked off the team,
Somebody says, any idea for the retro review date this month? It's up. It's the June 7th, 2010 Monday Night Raw. I did that with Alex Andresen, and we just filmed one with John Baez, our champion level subscriber, and Warren Hayes that should go up in the first week of October. So it is up. We also filmed a Fightful Books It show with Simon Willis for Fightful Select. Somebody says, Mahomes is fire. Yeah, I remember watching his dad pitch in baseball back in the day for like the Twins. How are your fantasy?
They were related.
Yeah. How are your fantasy teams doing? I am 1-1 across the board. 3 leagues. I do a league with wrestlers and MMA fighters and promoters and like a bunch of comedians and shit. Comedians, Josh Sneed. But and then I do one Fightful Fantasy Football, and then I do Twitter Crew. I'm 1-1 in all of them. Does Joe win the title in Australia? Do you think he does, Alex?
I don't think anything happens in Australia. I think the what we might get is Buddy Murphy winning it because he's in Australia, and that might be their big feel good thing. And then he could lose it again the next week.
The same guy says, I thought this month was ECW 06. It got pushed back because of the retro review request by Alex, by Alex Andresen, rather. Favorite Dolph match? Ooh. I loved the singles match, the TLC match. I loved that.
There was a ladder match, I think, between him and Miz during that feud that I loved. I thought it was so good.
That one was really, really, really good too. I seem to remember a really great one between him and Daniel Bryan at like Over the Limit or some goofy ass pay-per-view like that. But I really like that. And then, of course, he's always been good in ladder matches too. Like he had several Money in the Bank matches that I thought were really, really good. But around that 2012, 2013 period, he had some really, really good matches. But the one that sticks out most that had me amped was the John Cena ladder match, just from a pure excitement perspective, outside of, the cash in and all that.
Yeah. I think the one the Miz I'm thinking of was Backlash 2 years ago. That was the one I'm thinking of.
Bragging Rights 2010. Yeah, that must have been it. Yeah, that was definitely it. I really like that. Is Hell in a Cell useless now that there's no DQ? Yeah, that was pointless. I hated that.
Well, they may have effectively killed it.
It was so damn dumb to have it end like that, because you made it sound like it was the be-all, end-all, and it wasn't the be-all, end-all.
Listen, there's somebody tweeted this thing out, and I retweeted it today. There's a picture of Kane ripping the doors off the hinges, and somebody goes, "Whoops! Somebody interfered. Better call the match."
Yeah. Will we ever see the Reds in the World Series again? Yeah, I doubt it. Will the Bengals win the division title? Yeah, they're going 16-0. Who won the disc battle, Eminem or MGK? I got to be honest, I haven't paid any attention to it.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
I should, but man, I listened to Pusha T and Drake this year, and Pusha revealed that the man had a child.
Have you heard the thing that like Drake had a whole response that was planned and ready to go, but got talked out of releasing it because it might have caused suicides? Like, listen, when your diss track is that fire, you just got to put it aside, man. It's not worth it.
Why no women's Hell in a Cell? I don't know.
Listen, you can only have an historic first once. After that, what's the point, right?
It's a good point. Our shark cage is done now that Toys R Us is out of business. They will always have a place to sell toys, guys. Somebody says, what should I watch to get acquainted with Lio Rush? If you have Honor Club, he had a match with Marty Scurll at 15th anniversary last year that was good. And there are so many Lio Rush matches online.
Yeah.
So many.
YouTube is chock-a-block full of that stuff.
Guys, thank you all so much. Visit Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com. We have a post-SmackDown show this week. Fightful MMA podcast every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. MMA insiders James Lynch and Showdown Joe. James Lynch does have the week off. However, listen, your boy, this Wednesday, 3 p.m. Tune in. It's a hoot. Follow Alex at Pawlowski the 4th. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. Until next time, we're out.